This is a true distributor behind the harmonic balancer, reverse water pump.
No distributor. Oh yeah, distributorless behind the water. It's an LT1. Yeah.
It's a LT1 reverse flow water pump,
Correct.
cam driven.
Correct.
Distributors behind the harmonic balancer.
Yeah, they call that
Called an
distributor.
OptiSpark.
Correct.
Have you taken the idle control solenoid motor off the side of the throttle body?
No. I took the
Buy
GPS
gaskets
out.
first.
I took the IAC out to clean the pintle. Where are you going?
Did you
What's
clear
the
the
thought
passage
process?
and behind the throttle body itself?
I did remove the throttle body from the intake and cleaned everything manually. Yeah. Absolutely.
At that time, you had the idle speed control solenoid off the side of the throttle body.
No, I left it in.
You left it on there.
Yeah.
You need to remove it and clean right behind it.
Well, that's easy enough. Can't hurt. I mean, it's easy enough to do. Yeah, that can be done. Sure.
You just didn't go quite far enough to get all the dirt
actually
built up in there.
Yeah, it really wasn't very. I mean, this car only has 23,000 miles on it.
Irrelevant.
No, it doesn't have running time. It doesn't have hours on the motor. You know, and it was very clean. It was really clean. So,
but the tolerances and the way those things are so finicky, it's amazing that just having a spider web made up inside of there, and it happens, changes the way the flow is. And it will act exactly what you're saying.
I'll tell you what also did impress me. I walked up to the parts store to buy a new throttle body gasket. Discontinued. They didn't have it. Discontinued part. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So Keith is backstage.
I got him.
I got a message here. Keith is backstage.
There he is.
Hey, guess what? I'm backstage.
All right.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Are you backstage?
No, not anymore.
Okay, all right.
Now I'm on stage now.
How do we know you and not your brother?
Yeah, I know. We saw two Lewises a minute ago. We didn't know. We don't even know if we still got the real one.
And we had two Isaacs a couple of weeks ago.
I know this is getting kind of fishy. Don't get me started on the conspiracy theories going on over here.
I have more gray hair. That's how you can tell.
This is the reason I left Maryland, Brian, because I don't want to deal with what you're dealing with up there.
Hey, you ain't shitting, dude. Boy.
Yeah.
I'm just happy as can be to continue to stay in Texas. Play with cars that get shipped to me from Maryland now.
And only one Terry.
Yeah,
there is only one Terry.
There's only one. That's for sure.
We're all going to have a secret password because I don't know who's who anymore.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening, gentlemen?
So I'm gonna tell you my day, how it went. So I woke up this morning and started the bus.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I woke up. That was the best thing. Started the bus and it was in a pile of mud, and it climbed out of the mud. I took it over to Tyler's.
Nice.
So didn't get stuck.
So Tyler started working. Yeah, I didn't get stuck. It was amazing. I knew I was gonna get stuck, but I didn't. So I got it over to Tyler's, and he started on the brakes. He's doing brakes, brake cylinders, or not cylinders. What do you call them?
Wheel cylinders.
Boosters.
Oh.
So you drove it over to Tyler's with no brakes?
No, it had brakes, but I'm changing everything. I'm putting everything new.
You doing S-cam bushings too, Lewis?
Yep.
And have them pop it off, them do wheel seals and all that.
Yeah. And we're gonna do I'm changing some hoses, the air hoses.
Yeah.
What else?
Have you seen the new style wheel seals for those that are orange?
I think that's what I got.
It's that I'll have to send this to Ray. I can't remember the brand name on it, but when they did the kingpins in my international, they use those new seals, and where it's got with the big trucks, a lot of times, Ray, they would tweak the seals. Mm-hmm. So somebody got smart enough and added basically like an impact strip on the seal itself. So they're like, clean it, put it in, and then beat it right here where it's orange.
Nice.
And it beats it in, and it squares the seal up, and they made it a lot stiffer, a little thicker on the sidewall, so it sets in there. And they were smart enough to go to our website, watch the video, fill out this little form, and if you did it just like we do in the thing, we'll offer you like an unlimited warranty on the mileage. And if they ever have to go in because the seal failed, we'll replace the seal and labor.
There's what company is that, Vince?
I'm gonna have to, I cannot remember the name of it. I'll find it.
Okay.
But they're heavy. It's I found them when I was doing the kingpins in my international, and we redid them. And the mechanic is like, dude, I've never seen seals like this. And I went, read what it says. Go to the website, get the little paperwork, and they'll reimburse you for your labor if that seal ever fails.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. It's huge in the heavy duty market.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, as Lewis can tell you, you get those guys that a seal fails and they're like, just replace it, pay us again.
Yeah.
This company says no. If that seal screws up, we'll eat this. We'll eat the service. We'll eat the seal.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So we're doing what else? We're doing oil changes, changing all the fluids.
Have you thought about putting a like an aftermarket air system on that DS 466?
I seen a video the other day. A guy put a K&N on it.
I mean the fuel, the fast, like a fast fuel pump on it on the
Oh yeah. I had one of those on the Freightliner. Those are nice systems. Yeah, I'd like to get that.
Yeah, because I've seen with the ISX, I've seen guys say it ain't worth it. I've seen guys say, yeah, it's worth it. So I don't know. It's the whole idea is they filter the fuel down to 2 or 3 microns.
Yeah, I
had
it on my FL70.
And the idea is that once they filter it down and clean water and anything out of it, you're getting pure, just fuel, no air, everything. And they say they run a lot better and get better mileage too. So,
yeah, it's true. It does. I bought a truck and it had it on it already. It was a FL70.
And then I think it was got like a dual spin-on filters. Yep. When you service them, you just pull them off, fill them full of fuel, and
put them back on.
Should prime. When you hit the key, it should self-prime. So,
actually, I'm going to look that up right now because I want the system because I know it works. and I forgot about it.
Hey, Lewis, I got something that you'd love to have that I know I'm glad it's in my hands and not yours.
Nice.
Summit.
Hold on, let me make the screen bigger. Hold on one second.
I got my Summit credit card.
Hey, it'd be bad news if I had it.
It says speed card, which is even worse because you can speedily buy. And I've used it a couple times already. It's very cool.
Summit's warehouse is 90 minutes from me.
It's closer to Lewis.
Yeah, it is.
I can throw a rock at it.
Yeah. I got to get that one day. that's going to be one of my destinations for sure.
It's a good time.
Yeah, me and Terry took a tour, man. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I think the real Lewis is trying to get back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Well, I'll be dropping both of your names when I go to. Don't worry.
Please stand up. Please stand up.
Yep.
I'm trying to.
I'm gonna show him a picture on my phone. Look, I know this guy.
Lewis, Rev HD is the name of those seals.
Hold on, let me get a pen.
REV HD. Rev HD.
That's the company that makes them, Vince?
That's the company. Yeah, that's the name.
Okay. Nice.
The reason I got 2 of me on here is because I'm using my iPad to let people on and off.
I can let him on, Lewis.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this iPad then.
All
right, what was the name of that?
I'm in full screen.
Rev HD. REVHD.com.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, like I said, it's I wish they would do the passenger car stuff, rather than just the heavy duty stuff.
Maybe they will. Maybe they'll branch out. I mean, it's easy enough to do once they have the formula, so to speak.
Yeah, take a look at that, Ray, when you get a minute. Just it's pretty fascinating. So
let me write it down. Rev HD.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do my solar panels and my toolboxes on the side. Depending on the time, we got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
We showing Terry?
What is that? He's him talking.
Summit.
Something.
It's got a glare.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got a glare. Hold on a sec. Let's do this. I don't know if you can see it.
Why did that?
That's
now.
Anyways, that's an unfinished video of the touring summit that I a couple of months ago.
Oh,
I got to put that out. So going through the whole facility and all that. You remember when I picked up the brakes, Lewis?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is. Summit's nice, man. It's you gotta go there. I mean, you can't just go there and not spend money. I mean, you're gonna.
No, I plan on it. I plan on spending money if I go.
We've got a warehouse.
Go out there. Yeah.
It's I forget how many miles it is from where I'm at. That warehouse outside of Atlanta. I know I can be there in like 3.5, 4 hours. But
Lewis could be there. Lewis could be there in 35 minutes.
35. Yep.
100 and
that place is huge. It's huge.
Oh, yeah.
You go in the back.
But Terry, you got to remember they have in-store unadvertised deals too.
That's great.
You can walk in there and because there was one of the guys that's on the Ford page. They had basically an SVO 514 scratch and dent sale, and they were like, "Is this a good deal?" And they're like, "Depends on if you need it or not."
What was it going for, Vince?
I think he said they had 8 or 9K on it, which
that's good.
Which is that's
you can't build it for
they're
that.
like, what's wrong with it?
You can't build it for that. Yeah.
The sticker on it is a little more than that, but what's wrong with it? I think that. I don't remember what he said was wrong with it, but that was,
I'm curious how they wound up with it. Like, did they do project cars or something? This was left over, or
I don't know if it was something like it might have gotten, being that it was crate, did it get dropped during shipping, and they went,
Oh, I see. The customer didn't accept it.
Well, hey, would you sign for a crate engine, 12, 13K that was been clearly dropped?
Not if I saw it being dropped. No.
Hell, like, I'm not signing for that. I'm not taking that. That's clearly been dropped or something happened to it.
Sure.
So
that fast system is selling for $499.
That's not bad at all. Last one I looked at was about $1,400.
Now you know what?
Make sure we're comparing apples to apples.
I watched this guy, Luke Hoare Automotive. They're in Ohio, outside of Cleveland. And they do a lot of hot rod stuff. They do some regular stuff too, but a lot of hot rod. And he just put an Aces fuel injection system on a Barracuda. And then my buddy at the shop, my friend's son, Junior, he says, "Hey, I'm thinking about putting an Aces fuel injection on my GTO." I was like, wow, I just watched the video where this guy did that. And I had never heard of the system before. It's an independent company. It looks just like a Sniper. The difference is they took the ECU and they mounted it remotely inside the car, which is kind of nice. But I don't know. Any of you guys have any info on them or seen anything?
They had, if you look, they had, I watched her thing from Summit. I mean, no, from SEMA. They had a big booth, and there was, it's on Instagram. It comes across every once in a while. If I ever see it again, I'll send it to you, or if you just look, because they had the guy there, and they had all the different styles that they have. There's a couple different platforms.
Yeah.
Ray, I've heard of them, but I've heard of them and seen some of their products, but I don't know anybody who's ever run it or more than that. I have heard of them. I have seen their stuff. So
yeah. I told him, I said, listen, from what I watched this guy do, he had trouble when it came down to starting the car, and they didn't have spark. Then again, I just watched Derek Beery on Roadworthy, Relics, whatever, the other night. Did his dually truck, same thing. Put a sniper on it, and didn't have spark, and he was changing MSD parts left and right. So these guys went from a MSD distributor down to a points distributor, bench tested them, they both worked. Bought a new distributor, that didn't work, then called the company and they said, are you using an MSD? And they said no. He says, well, our systems really work best when you do use an MSD box or use our dedicated distributor, which is like what I did with the Holly stuff. I bought their Hyperspark distributor. And then once he did that, fire in the hole, everything worked fine. But so I guess there's always little hurdles. It would be nice if they would just advertise that stuff, save you some trouble. But
just put it all in the kit.
Well, not some guys want to use a points distributor, believe it or not, even with a fuel injection system. Why? They're Tony DeFeo. They believe in if the distributor breaks down, they want to fix it on the side of the road. I figure once you're in with fuel injection, what's the difference? I said, now if I could tie my distributor to my fuel injection like a modern car, hell yeah, I want to do that, because I want the fuel injection computer, I want that ECU adjusting the timing as the load changes, which is something you can't do on a regular distributor. You can spark very slightly. You have a slight variation with vacuum advance, but some guys they at least the guys I've been talking to, if they make the decision to go like with the fuel injection, that's the big step. And you throw other stuff at them, they're like, oh, I don't know, like you overload them, they can't handle it. And I say, hey, listen, if you're not doing the install, have the guy who's doing it do it, and you'll like it later. But
all right, so some of you all know that I'm doing the rewire on this 40 Cadillac. So all of you guys that work on vintage automobiles, my question is, do you charge an additional hazardous waste charge when you come across the nesting material under the seats? Is this a legitimate charge on a billable area?
It depends on if it gets on your mouth.
I've seen so much crap in the Mustang alone that I should have had a hazmat pay and hazmat suit. Yeah,
actually, this is one of the least.
I was about to say that's not too. Yeah, that's a courtesy dump.
Right, a courtesy dump. Yeah,
that's a courtesy. Tell them about when we took the seats out that CUDA, Lewis.
Listen, I couldn't even get in it, man. It was so much stuff.
I'm saying, Lewis, don't you want to get in there, dude? Yeah, you get in there. Go ahead.
I was good on that one.
Oh man.
All right. Let me throw this question out in the same vein. In cleaning out an old car, project car, what's the longest you've ever been sick because of not wearing a respirator?
That's a good point. I know you're coming within a couple days.
I'm going to go with about 7 to 10 days was the worst case I ever had.
Yeah.
When I brought my first Cyclone back from Jacksonville to Charleston, I was sick for 7 days after we pulled the interior out and pressure washed everything and cleaned it all up. I forgot, didn't have my respirator with me. 7 days I was sick after I did that.
Wow.
I won't go in one again without something.
Yeah. I keep telling, mine wasn't, I had a pretty big nest in the front. It was, I don't know why, but there was a whole bunch of old bath towels that had gotten all ball. It was just eaten out in the center, and there was just a big thing. And I thought about after I grabbed it in the truck, and I said, dude, you should really be like wearing something. But I did vacuum and wash the car out, half of it. But
is the sickness airborne, or is it just like you touch it and
we have all that feces and crap on you, and you rub your face and you go eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you know.
Well, yeah. The other thing is like this Mustang. It came from Alabama, and it's got Alabama mud gobbers on the bottom, still stuck to the chassis in places. There was one up under the over the. I said this car had to be really pressure washed professionally before it came to me. But
Right,
it
that's
wasn't.
called a dirt dauber.
Okay,
Well,
good
this
mud
car
gobber.
came out of Maryland, so I already have a herd immunity for 90% of Maryland diseases. It's the Texas problems that I have issues with.
Yeah.
So,
There's
so
a lot
Terry,
up here. Don't worry. There's a lot up here, man. Don't worry. You're safe, Paul.
so Terry, when are you going to buy me lunch at Brown's Barbecue?
When you want to go?
I don't know. I messaged you the last time I was there, and you never responded. So
When was this?
I had, you know, in South Carolina, when you deal with commercial motor vehicles, they have 4 specific locations that do nothing but trucks, and Kingstree is one of them. So when I was up there in Kingstree, I got mad on a Wednesday because they weren't open on Wednesday. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I had to come back on Thursday to, again, more paperwork. So I had to drive at 60 miles back from Charleston back to Kingstree, but I had lunch that day.
Wow, that's my town. That
I know.
place.
I heard you say you were from Kingstree.
Kingstree, South Carolina. About
Well,
50 miles from Myrtle Beach.
I was living in Somerville.
Okay.
And like I said,
How close to Myrtle Beach are you?
Kingstree is about 50 miles.
Yep.
So you're an hour away from the Beaver Bar.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Now my question is, do you go in there and buy the sit down rate, or do you do the weigh as you leave?
Oh, you got to do the way as you leave. But the thing is that you got to let me know when you're down there, because I'm going to be making a lot of trips to South Carolina. So let me know when you're there, because I'm in New York now, and we definitely do. It'd be my pleasure to buy you dinner, man.
I won't even harass you about LS Motors.
No. If you want it, yeah, we're just gonna have a nice meal. I buy. It's on me.
I'll tell you the truth. I just told the real estate lady I'm working with in North Carolina. I said, start showing me some South Carolina stuff. Move me right below the border. Take me down a little bit further. So,
Ray, I've got a friend that they moved from Mount Pleasant, which you know about Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
They moved to Greenville. And she said they are happy as can be moving from Mount Pleasant up to Greenville.
I do have a friend who has a house right near Greenville, and it will be up for sale, but it's not. It's almost 100% what I want, but not 100. So I think I'm going to pass on that one.
But, Greenville is growing. BMW is opening another plant in Greer, so that's 2 plants.
Right.
Michelin is opening another plant, so they're going to have 2 or 3 Michelin plants up there in that area.
Yeah.
Charleston down by the coast, they're opening another. Any of the X series Volvos are made in. Actually, it's just outside of Somerville, but they're opening. Volvo's expanding. Bosch, Boeing. I mean, there's a ton of industry that are moving to that area, and so house prices are just freaking shooting through the moon.
Yeah.
So
get your house now. Get your house now while you can.
That's it. Well, Hey, Coach.
The only good thing is where I am, the houses are still going up, so my equity is still building. So I'll be on the good end of it.
So like the guy that bought my aunt's house in Georgia was from your neck of the woods. Walked in there and bought her 10-acre plot, house, pole barn, lean-to, paid cash, and had a refusal on the other 50 acres.
My wife and I walked in cold to an open house, and young girls, young real estate agents, nice girl, but they were young. And we were talking back and forth, told her where we were from and what we were doing, and they were just speculating. And she says, "Oh, well, when you come down," she goes, "you're gonna, we can really help you out. And if you need any help with finance, we can do that too." I said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna." I said, "Unless you want to hand me the pen." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, I'll be paying cash. I said, sell my house. I said, we're just going to be just turning it over. You had to see her eyes. Those North Carolina eyes are really big. She's like, ooh, we like you. We like you Northerners.
Pay cash and property taxes are maybe $1,000 a year.
Mine's 1,200.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah.
I think ours are like 12 to 1,500.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
So I'm looking at this fast system, but they don't show it for my motor at all.
What, the DT466E?
Yeah.
Or just
It don't show it for 466 or the E.
You might have to call them because I know they make a system that'll fit it.
Yeah.
Because that 466 is a great motor.
I'm going to call them tomorrow.
Motor.
Believe me, I'm going to call them. I forgot about it because it was in one of my first trucks I ever had.
Because that's comparable to like a C12 Cat or an ISM Cummins. What else? Like an 11-liter Detroit. It's that same kind of realm, or a D7 Detroit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like I said, if you're interested, like I said, you've had one, I'd call them.
Yeah, I am. I'm calling tomorrow. Well, I got the hood up. Might as well put it in.
Well, it's such an easy system because it goes in line, and a lot of times that's the guys will pull out the stock systems. I know they used to do that on the Super Duties. They had almost a bolt-in kit. You pulled the factory system out and, you could literally within 2 or 3 hours on certain model Super Duties, you could, now don't quote me on that, but that was from what I've seen on some of their, again, bolt-on systems. Then they had them for the Duramax. They had them for the Cummins and the Dodge trucks, and all the pickup trucks, diesels in them. They had fast systems for them.
So Vince, just back up a second for those of us who missed the particulars. What exactly does the system do?
I believe they were engineers, mechanics, or whatever that did a lot of work with diesels. And they figured out that the stock diesel systems were, when they're feeding and pressurizing the fuel system, they were bypassing a lot of dirt, stuff like that. So they figured out a way.
It's just like a better way of refining the fuel.
All right, so this is the filtration system we're talking about. Okay.
It takes
the way you were talking about it almost sounded like you were talking about a supercharger.
It takes the diesel and it filters it down to like 2 microns. It's something crazy.
Okay.
And then once they send it through the system, it's like a double filter.
Yeah.
So once they filter it, it's supposed to be pure, clean diesel. No air, no dirt, just diesel fuel only. And they said that not only did the truck start getting better mileage, they started running a lot better because the aeration in the diesel and the issues with the stuff in the injectors and because some of these diesel pumps have a lift pump and a high pressure pump, and if you've got any kind of dirt in those systems, they raise havoc with the lift pumps, the high pressure pumps. A high pressure pump on a diesel goes to 30,000 psi.
Wow.
So you get dirt in that system, it can raise havoc, especially the injectors. Like I said, injectors for my ISX 10 years ago were $900 a piece.
Wow.
That was 10 years ago. God, for what they are now.
So basically, it's almost like it's kerosene is a finer substance of diesel fuel.
Right.
It's just a cleaner version. That's why they have like road diesel. They have different premiums, and it's just a filtration. So it's just cleaning it up, and the cleaner you get it, the better the truck runs, easier on the parts and everything like that. And for the money, that's why, like I said, you can run. If you got money, or if you like trying to start up, Like if we're in a really cold snap, see, I'll run kerosene through my truck. I'll run a couple gallons of kerosene to thin it all out and make it flow because the flow rate, and so forth. And you have a better flash point.
I just think it'll be nice if the OEMs did that for their customers. That'd be nice.
Right. They also make a diesel heater too, diesel fuel heater.
Yeah, because diesel when it gels,
that's bad news. And if you have any kind of water in, that's why one of our guys was saying that he had a hard time starting, and I said, pull down your filter and see if it's got like a waxy covering over top of it. And he's like, why? I said, well, you had water in there. That water sticks on the outside of the filter, and then, of course, it freezes up, and then it gets like a waxy buildup. And basically, with this system, you're taking all that stuff out of there, so you don't have that problem. Less of a problem. Once it gets contaminated, though, you got a problem. You get that fungus growing in there, and you're done.
Oh, that green diesel fungus.
Gentlemen, I have to take off. I gotta let my boy go. I gotta put my boy to bed. He had a school day today, so now he's ready.
Terry, shoot me a note when you're heading. Shoot me a note when you're heading back to South Carolina. So we'll see about.
We definitely will. My treat, no problem. Let's do it.
All right.
Take care,
gentlemen.
See you later.
See you, Terry. Brian, you know where a lot of that algae comes from?
Between your toes?
The dye that they put in the diesel is what the algae primarily eats.
Yeah, it's self-inflicting.
Dye.
Just so that a state boy comes by and takes a look to see what you're running.
Yeah.
I've had my truck sticked a few times. I'm sure Lewis has had his stick too to make sure you're not running the red.
We had
off-road diesel.
On my old Isuzu, I had a sight glass, and I can't tell you how many times after getting pulled over, and the guy would be walking up the side of the truck, and he sticks his head in between the box and the truck, and he's looking in that sight glass, and he turns around, he goes, "You're good." He flashes a light in the mirror, "You're good to go." And I'm like, well, you're just looking to see if I have that red dye.
Yep.
I had one time, my first little day cab I bought when I first bought my first truck. It had a little International, and it had for lack of a better term, like a little cage inside the neck. And I got stopped, and the DOT officer came over with a stick, to try to siphon, to pull a sample. And she goes, pull the. I said, okay. So I pulled the cap off, and she clunk. It went down about this far, and it's clunk. And she's looking, and I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. She goes, I can't get a fuel sample, ma'am. I don't know what to tell you. Both tanks have that little cage in them. You're not going to stick anything in there further than a nozzle on a diesel pump. That's as far as you're going in that tank.
Nice.
Well, she complained to her supervisor. I can't stick this. I can't. And the guy goes, he looked at it and he goes, driver, have a nice day. He goes, and I heard him going, as they're walking off, why are you busting his chops? And she's, and he's like, get out of here, dude. Get out of here. Yes, sir.
Where'd you buy those inserts that you could,
excuse me, Ray. They were in the truck when I bought it.
Yeah. Nice.
They were in it when I bought it, but that was funny. She took that thing and it went clunk, and boy, she didn't know what to do when it didn't go in that tank.
Hey, have you seen the what's it called? I had ethanol injection on that same truck. Not ethanol, it was ether.
Propane,
have you seen the ether?
Right?
Ether injector?
Right, for the starting.
Yeah.
My FLD that I had when I was the auto hauler had that big, it looked like a small pencil fire extinguisher mounted up on a core support with a hose that went into the intake track and a little push button.
Yep.
And that was ether injection. That was factory Freightliner.
Yeah. My FL7, or no, my FL70 had it. Yeah.
And that was a 2001 FLD 120 that I had, or that I drove that had that on there.
Yeah.
My International, my Scout, I had difficulty starting it sometimes, so I had a hose coming out of the glove box. For a hose, you open the glove box door, and I had a hose that went out to the carburetor, and I had a can of ether, and I'd spray it through the hose so I didn't have to get out of the truck.
Yeah, that works.
That was I had an old school bus motor in it, 345.
Starting aid.
Had a little help, got a spray. I think it probably every once in a while she was a little difficult starting up. So I just had a hose running out to the air cleaner, spray it down with a little starter fluid. Why fix it? Just put a Band-Aid on it.
So I had another go around with the commercial account guy at AutoZone. It wasn't the regular guy; it was his stand-in. So I called him Monday and said, "Look, I got a 1990 Chevy pickup. It's an SS 454. Disc drum. I said I need rear wheel cylinders and a rear brake hose." And we went around about the model. I said it's a 1500, short cab, short bed. What motor? It's SS 454 is the model. What size engine?
7.4 liter.
I said 454. And I go, well, I said, yeah, 7.3. Or he goes, oh, okay, all right. I said, okay, now we're on the same page. Then he says, you need rear brake lines? Like, no, rear wheel cylinders, 2 of them, and a rear brake hose. He says, so you need 2 hoses? I was like, no. 1 hose, 2 wheel cylinders. Ship them out. So I don't know if he ever sent them. They never called me to say my parts were in. So I don't know. Maybe he just gave up. What a jerk.
Yeah, that.
I love dealing with AutoZone.
Ray, if it makes you feel any better, the first parts store that I actually worked at, the store manager was not into cars at all. He was just somebody who ended up needing a job, and their buddy got him a job at this parts store, and they ended up being the store manager. This guy didn't know a screwdriver from a wrench, but yet he was a store manager because he knew how to keep the shelf stocked and reorder oil filters. But he was not a car guy at all.
You know, one of my first jobs was in an auto parts store also back in the 70s. And the guy he was a businessman. He wasn't really a car guy, but he did okay running the shop. He ran it by himself and then hired me. I was working in the high school was right behind, it was the block behind. So I'd work when I had time off, and then I ended up being, full-time right after I was done with school. But, so I was his guy, and he really didn't show me much, but he was able to run the business. And it was kind of funny because when he sold it to these 2 younger guys out of Maspeth, Queens, Pontiac guys. That's how I ended up getting my GTO. The guy said, "You're going to work for me, you got to have a Pontiac, preferably a GTO." I was like, okay. So that's another story. But I was intimidated now because he moved me to the counter. Because you want to work the counter. I was like, yeah, who doesn't want to work the counter in an auto parts store? But I was intimidated by that rack of books.
The Weatherly Index.
And he says to me, you know what? He goes, I'll tell you what to do. He goes, when there's free time and you have the front of the store all packed out, everything's cool, and otherwise you're sitting around jerking off. He says, just look up something for your car. Look up a muffler, look up shocks, or look up tune-up stuff. He goes, and then once you see where those books are, you'll know where they are for other people. He goes, so just start looking up everything for your own car. And he was right. I mean, that's all I did. And then that's how I, got past my fear of the massive book. Then you start learning which ones, you got to go between them. You go Merrimack, you want to go Walker, you want to go, Appliance. Then you got like 3 or 4 books you can do the same thing. So, but that's how I made my bones in the parts business. So.
Yeah, when I went to work for a Napa, that was their system, was the Weatherly. That they lived and breathed by the Weatherly Index.
Okay.
On how to set up the catalogs, and and again, it's the same thing. If it like you said, that was a good way to learn it. Is just flip through there and go, okay, there's tune-up parts, and then you just start working through the catalogs, and eventually you like you said, you'll figure out, okay, here's oh, the water pump, oh, it's here. Oh, I need a muffler here. Oh, brakes are over here.
So I never knew that there was a filing system. What is the Weatherly system specifically? I never even heard the term.
The Weatherly Index?
Yeah.
That was something, like I said, that term got thrown around a lot at the Napas. When I worked with them and ran a store, ran a Napa parts store. I'm gonna have to look into that some. It was one of those things that they always referred to it, and after a little bit of time of working there as a counterman, it became pretty obvious. But where it started from and all that, I have no idea. But that was, it was like water pumps 7, because all of the catalog racks had numbers on them. It didn't say like Walker or BCA or National Seal. It had a number on there.
All right.
And once you kind of learned, okay, well, once you learned the numbers, what each number was for, by vendor, then it was like, oh, you need an oil seal, then you wouldn't know which, national, you knew where your National Seal book was, or your Timken bearings, and
When I was in the auto parts business, I worked with this one guy, Rob, and he was going to school to be a lawyer, and he did have a Volkswagen. I mean, he did, mess around. He had a Super Beetle, but he wasn't much of a car guy, but he had his books set up alphabetically.
I was going to say, I did work at another place that did have them alphabetical.
So he had them alphabetically by vendor.
Yeah, by vendor.
Okay. And then I worked with another guy, and he had it alphabetically by part. Part of the car.
Sure.
And then you had me with my set of books, and I just had ones I didn't use much on the top rack, and the ones I was always in the bottom rack,
Right.
And it wasn't not really a order, but like I said, I started out with ignition, and I ended up down towards exhaust. That's basically like mine was, I guess if you had to look at it, mine was laid out like how a car was laid out, front, middle, and back.
Okay. That's good too. Yeah, that's good.
But it's funny how, like, when Vince was talking, because I've heard that before, but I worked with a handful of different people, and there was 3 of us on the counter, so we each had our own rack of books.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of funny. We had a back shelf for our gas stations. They had their own hotline, to call in.
Right.
And Kathy, which was our manager, she ran that, and I don't know how her books were, but I know when I did Sundays all by myself, and I hate it because I was on the very end. But if I was up by the register and I had to use Rob's books, because alphabetically by vendor, when somebody said something like water pump, then you say, okay, am I going to do an A1 or am I going to do an AC Del?
Right.
You just had to figure out which book you wanted to use in, or how to know the vendor.
Looking at that link that you just sent, Vince, about that basically leaves that open as to how you file, I think. Because like Brian said, you can file like there's 3 different ways right there. So that may be, it's like, do you put Leonard Skinner under L or under S?
Or you could drive your wife crazy, and I put my CDs in by my favorite song. So.
Oh, geez. That's ridiculous.
It's under V for vintage.
I put Leonard Skinner under A for awesome.
Under A for
V.
Does Zeppelin go under L or under Z? I always put them in Z.
No, I'm just joking.
That's funny.
Well, okay. Do you put it by the Led Zeppelin or
No.
the band, or
no? The band would be under band.
You did hear that Garth Hudson passed away a couple weeks ago, didn't you? He was the last one of the band.
And it's funny because when I talk to friends, everybody does it one of a couple different ways. It's just the way that your brain goes. I mean, you could do it strictly by, library alphabetism, I guess, but which is probably the correct way to do it. But
alphanumerical, you say?
yeah, but not everybody does. We
Dewey
all have
Decimal System.
Library.
Right.
Dewey Decimal System.
That's for a library, not a parts catalog.
Actually, General Motors parts departments were run very similar to that. They ran on what they called group number.
Yeah.
Right. Group.
When I worked for Nationwide,
group, and sheet metal was a group, and
right.
When I worked for Nationwide, we used microfiche.
Yeah.
And that was which was you're familiar with microfiche, I'm sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the Ford.
Way back.
When I went to work for Ford, they had some stuff that was still on microfiche. And the guy was amazed that I knew how to use a microfiche. And I was like, yeah, that's old school, man.
That's
all my Porsche stuff's microfiche.
That's how I used to do book reports.
Yes.
All the Porsche stuff I have is microfished.
But
that's why I love somebody go, hey, do you have a wiring diagram for this? Yeah, I got it. Can I borrow the book? There ain't no book, buddy. It's like we come over here and look at it.
Right. But like Paul said, I like GM's way of doing it with groups, because once you learn the groups, like engine is 6, brakes are 8. You just kind of remember that, and it makes it easy when you're looking at a service manual. You just kind of know what section you have to go to. Well, because they kept it throughout the years.
To throw you a curveball, Ford, they broke down every piece and part of the car and put it by a base part number. Like a 6B203, like a 6B203 is a tensioner. Whether it's a belt tensioner for an F-150, an Escort, a Penta, it doesn't matter. A 6B203 is the base part number for a tensioner.
All I know is that when I see C's, O's, and Z's, I'm looking at a Ford part number.
Well, those were engineering codes.
Yeah,
those
like
were
in the 60s.
Manufacturers and engineering codes.
Carburetor numbers are always C's, O's, and Z's. Always.
I worked with a guy, I kid you not. His nickname was Fast Eddie. He's a big Ford guy as well, motorcycles, all that. All the years I worked with Eddie, I could look at him and go, Eddie, what's the base part number for a carburetor? And without hesitating, he knew him because he had worked for Ford parts for 20. He could ask him, what's a bolt for a starter? And he knew the base part number for that stuff. And it's like, good God, dude, you've been doing this a long time.
That's how Joe is. So, I got yelled at by my wife again. On my rear bumper of my car, right under the license plate, there's 2 7/16 bolts to thread into J-nuts that go into the bumper. And one of them I guess it fell apart. So I need one. So I went to Ace Hardware. They only had a very helpful guy. They only went up to 3/8. Then I stopped at an auto parts store, a local auto parts store. They didn't have them. And I was in Home Depot looking at other stuff. So I know that Lowe's has some automotive hardware. So I stopped this guy in the aisle, and in retrospect, he wasn't the brightest or the sharpest knife in the drawer. So, and he knows what he knows, I guess. But I said to him, listen, we're in the hardware aisle. I said, can you point me to the automotive specialty stuff? He goes, automotive? I was like, yeah, you probably got a couple drawers of automotive specialty stuff. I said, just point me to them. I got to look for something. Oh, let me look. I don't know if we have automotive. I'm like, all right. So we do find a couple of the bins. He goes, well, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for a J-nut. Whoa, what? Well, I put go in my vest pocket, and I happen to have a sample of a J-nut and the bolt that I need the J-nut for. And I held up the J-nut. I said, I need one of these. The sample of what I need, but this isn't the size I need. I need a bigger size. And he opens the drawer, and I look quick, and I see that they didn't have anything big. I said, okay, I can see you don't have it. Thanks for looking. He says, well, yeah, but what size do you need? I'm like, I need 7/16, 14. And then he's taking the J-nut, and he's lining it up on the thread check. I'm like, dude. I said, forget all that. Forget that. I said, that's just a sample to show you what I needed. That's not what I need. Oh, well, that's what you have with you. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be taken with me in a minute. And the conversation probably went a little worse than that, because then my wife's like, what the hell are you talking to these people like that for? Leave the guy alone. I was like, oh, next thing I was going to clock this guy into the plumbing aisle. Get the fuck away from me. But it's that, it's that, I guess it's my attention span and ability. If a guy's helping me, that's fine. I can slow it down and I can bring it to his level if he doesn't understand what I need. I have no problem with that. But when these guys, like this guy with the brake hose and when they go off on their own tangent, dude, give me back my stuff. Forget it. Take my toys. I'm going home.
Hey, Ray, I was in the Ace Hardware, and they've redone it, and they've really actually improved. I mean, they had a really good nut and bolt section, you know, but they've actually improved it where, I mean, there's a lot more stuff. There's another hardware store, Christopher's, in Sandy Spring, which is the other way from my house. And his bolt connect and bolts and nuts are awesome. I mean, it's an incredible section he has. So, but I had stopped in at the Ace Hardware, and I just gone in and I had to pick up a few things. I said, I want to try to find some Allen, small Allen bolts for the tail lights for the Mustang. Here, I'll get you a little closer. Let me see if I can zoom in. I don't think it's going to work.
Screws, you're saying?
Huh?
Instead of Phillips head screws.
Yeah, the Allens.
Yeah.
Now those are flathead, so they have a concave.
But it takes an Allen's thing. So of course I get the same thing. I get the guy comes over. What are you looking for? I said, it's all right, dude. I'll just find it. And he goes, no, let me help you. I said, no, it's okay. I don't need your help. So he goes, well, what are you trying to do? I said, dude, it's custom.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm just looking for a certain bolt, an Allen. Oh, the Allens are over here. I said, same thing.
Yeah.
Just Ray, you don't have any. Ray, do you have any?
I'm going to call it a night, fellas.
All right.
All right, Paul.
Talk to you next
care,
Thursday.
Paul.
I should be in Tulsa next Thursday evening.
All right, Paul. Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care.
A little black Allen head.
Oh, Brian, if you tell me the thread pitch and the length, I'll get them for you.
Oh, I finally got him. It was just he was just going through like every like I said, every bolt, every nut.
Kind of looks like that might maybe is that a 1032 by about an inch?
It's a 1032 and 1 inch, right? That's exactly
it. There you go. I know my hardware.
And I really liked. I didn't know it has a black trim ring, and I had gotten one stainless steel one.
See, I'm surprised that how you use that screw. You need a flat bottom on that. I thought you would need the the
Taper.
No, the original screws for that were chrome.
Yeah,
and they were flat. But the one thing that I like about them, they had when it goes through the housing, and it goes through the lens to the body. It had a shank, not a shank. There was no thread, a shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah.
And that's what I would kind of like to find. If I could find an Allen, I don't know if I could find an Allen that way.
Typically, they come with a shoulder when the length hits a certain dimension.
Oh.
And I think it's about 1.5 inches.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with the original. I saved the originals because but they were flat-headed screws, but I liked the Allens. And I had gotten one stainless steel and a couple black ones. But I think because of the black frame, I want to keep it black.
So you'd want 1032 by 1 with a shoulder, which probably doesn't exist, in black.
And it was, like I said, an Allen.
So, do you have more room for a longer screw, or does it have a blind hole?
It's a blind hole.
It
But
is.
I could probably poke them because they come out. I mean, there's nothing behind it except like I could probably cut the ends off of them.
So
and then
you really want the shoulder just to go through the ring of the light.
Yeah, let me show you. I got another one right here.
Because it just so happens, you know, I mean, I have a bunch of hardware outside, but my buddy's motorcycle shop.
See, like this is the see the hole here. That's where the bolt goes in.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's flat. And then this is the lens. See how this cut out?
Yep. That looks like about 3/16.
So the bolt goes through there, and then you have the housing on the back of that, and it's probably got like maybe a 1/4 inch of threads.
Right.
And like I said, I could probably cut the end of this thread all the way, and then cut the bolt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To make it that size. But the shoulder, I think the shoulder, because like this, see this going through like that.
Yeah.
The shoulder, there's no play. It tightens. See, this wiggles around.
Right. All right. Like I said, I use my friend's bike shop for this stuff, and it's funny. I have a couple drawers of chrome hardware that I've had for different motorcycle projects, and all of my cars. Whenever I put a carburetor on, I go in there and I grab 1/4 inch chrome flat washers, 1/4 inch locks, and 1/4 inch acorn nuts, and I put them on the carburetors. I even did the header on my Fiat with acorn nuts, just to dress it up because the nuts, the stud coming through always rusts, and just like those little touches, I kind of like those little. Even when I put a new door closer on my screen door, I put a couple of chrome bolts with chrome acorn nuts on it. So. But I'll see. I know that the shoulder comes in when you get over a certain length, and I think it's 1.5 inches. But because the shoulder may be the full distance through your ring and the lens, and then the actual body of the car. I mean, you might even have to put a washer on so it's threading through the body of the car.
Yeah, it's threading through the body of the housing. See here.
Is it the back panel of the car?
No, it's separate. See, this is the tail.
And how does that mounts on its own?
So this is on the back of the panel.
Yeah.
And then you have this on the front of the panel.
Uh-huh.
And in between, and then you have that going in between.
So that the outer one threads to that, and that's already attached to the car.
Yeah. On the when you got into like the 68 like Shelby, on the Shelby 68 and 67, when they ran this light, instead of making this housing was made into the panel.
Oh yeah.
So that was originally that's why they used the 65 and 66 Thunderbird from like that magazine you sent me, that article.
Yeah.
Because this came off of the car. It wasn't part of this housing like later on.
Yeah.
It was only 2 years for this.
Right.
And actually this one's not. Somebody must have done that because these holes go all the way through.
Oh, okay.
So they're threaded all the way through. So if I use something longer.
So how many of those do you need?
Well, I only have 4, but 4 will do.
Well, but you need for each side.
Yeah, it'll be a total 8.
So you need 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess
11. Now I got a project.
Hey, what was that LED guy? You know that guy we had on the show?
It's called Out of Business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's done. Only doing motorcycle stuff now. That was Mitch.
Huh.
Yeah, he's only doing motorcycles now. Unless Lewis could. I tried getting in touch with him and he didn't answer. So unless Lewis has it in.
You're on mute.
You're muted, man. Mute.
He retired.
Okay.
So I don't know who's running it now. I think he still owns it, but I don't. He's not involved.
Right.
Yep. So I have no hookup because I've reached out to him too. I wanted to do some
I
stuff.
tried because somebody else I knew wanted to do something. I said, "Yeah, man, hook up with Mitch. Great stuff."
Yeah.
Because this one's not bad. This one's not bad. The chrome on the I mean, it's not chrome. It's whatever the reflector.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the ones that are in the car are pretty bad. I got these the other. I mean, it was not the other day. It was a couple of years ago.
They sell Eastwood sells a reflective paint made for the inside of lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
it's like a chrome paint.
Yeah, this one. I don't know if this was done or I don't know if this was done because this looks kind of shitty. I mean, it's got some runs, but yeah, these actually I got these for. I wasn't going to buy them. I told myself because I already have one, two. I have another set, but the guy had this. He didn't have any lenses.
Oh yeah.
He just had the bodies.
They probably repro the lenses though, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I only got 3. I got 3, and I got one broken one. One came broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know because originally I've seen them where guys, they paint these black or paint them the color of the car. I'm not really a big chrome guy, but it just has a little bit of chrome I kind of like.
Yeah, give you a little bit of to just give you a little bit of an offset. That's nice.
So.
Yeah, when you see them painted, that means that they were bad shape.
Yeah, probably so. And I pulled I pulled my noses out of actually I have 2 different front valences. I pulled those from my mom's and brought those home the other day. So, but I went through and Target had Christmas bins on 70% off. They were like the 30-gallon bins.
Yeah.
And so I bought 10 of them and laid them out, and I went through all my parts and separated and put them all in the bins.
Nice. I always find it interesting how guys do their projects, not necessarily in the shop, but at home. Because I know when I did my own car and I pulled it all apart.
Parts are everywhere. I still find so much shit.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm saying, I think after I set the car up on jack stands, I pulled the motor out because that was going out to the guys. I had to pull the motor and trannies to send it out. But then the first thing I did after that was I pulled out the rear end. And then I said, okay, this is where I'm starting with the rear end. Pulled out, the gas tank, the rear end. Sent the gas tank to my buddy. It does radiators and gas tanks. Sent the rear end out to another guy to be rebuilt. And that was the first thing I got back. So before I got it back, I was under there cleaning the rear end up and wire wheeling it and pour 15 in it. And the rear end was the first thing that went back in the car. But I know people that do it, they said, no, I did the front end first, or I did something else. I always find it interesting, like what that first thing is. It can be a random choice.
Yeah, I've seen, like everything else, I'm trying not to get so sidetracked.
It's hard.
And so I was going to start with the front first. I had gone around and I said, I'll just do the front. I'll do the front. But I have so much, I have more of the rear I mean, like I said, I have so much more of the stuff in the back of the car, and I said, well, I'll just start with the back and do all that. Hopefully, the only thing I cannot find, and it's kind of, and I know I've seen them, just don't know. It might be in the shed, in the small shed. I can't find the brackets on the 9-inch for the rear brake calipers.
Ah.
I found, I got the axles. I've got everything. I mean, like I said, I've got all the bearings. I got all the stuff, but I can't find the brackets. I got the brake calipers. I got all that stuff.
I would think usually if you were to save them, you'd probably save them with the caliper.
Yeah. And I've got all that stuff. And I do remember, see, it might be with the old calipers because I bought brand new brake calipers and rotors. And I have all that stuff sitting over here. I mean, around over here.
So what are you doing for Master Cylinder to take us back in time to brake stuff?
Well, I haven't gotten anything now. The only thing that I do have, I have a brand new 1966 disc brake one, the big coffee can one, single reservoir.
Single reservoir disc brakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you show that last week?
You're not going to run a single circuit system, are you?
Well, I told you I was going to do it old school, and you gave me that dad look. You gave me that dad look. And
got that right.
I'm just like, and I'm sitting there saying, I'm glad Ray can't reach through the.
I'll bounce you off this screen. I'll bounce you right out of here.
And I'll have to look twice because if you see the picture of the firewall and I got that single reservoir,
I know
that Ray's coming down waiting by the front door.
I don't care how big you are. I don't care how big you are. I'll hurt something. Maybe it's a kneecap. I'll hurt something.
So, but I think they said something like it's the rear came out of a Lincoln.
A Versailles.
And it's the same one in a Granada, 75 to 77 Granada. And I think they say you could use that brake, that master cylinder.
The Granada and the Versailles were the same rear end.
Yeah, same car. It was the same body, same car.
That Ray has the funky mounting, the master cylinder for the Lincoln and the Versailles and the Granada.
I couldn't use it on the Mustang because the ears are not three.
Yeah, they're not straight. They're like
offset.
They're cattywampus.
Right, and that's why I couldn't use it on the Mustang.
Because I debated on using that same master cylinder on my car, which is going to get 4-wheel discs, and I saw the pit. I actually saw one, and I went, "What the hell is this Bolton?
Yeah,
this Mickey Mouse looking setup." I went, "That's not going to work."
No.
Yeah. So, so that's what they say, or that's what they say the best. Now, see, I keep going, because they said the same thing with the front spindles. You could use the Granada
spindles,
the Granada spindles on it.
You got to drill out either the ball. I can't remember if it's the ball joint or the tie rod. But that's all you got to do.
I think it's the tie rod. You have to draw. It's like the thing that I sent you. Right? I mean, Vince.
Why do you think you bought? Why do you think I bought that ball joint reamer?
Oh yeah.
Why do you think I bought that reamer? Because I was going to put the Granada spindles on my car before I bought the AJE front end. I was going to do the Granada.
So you didn't buy the Granada spindles, right?
I have a set if you need them.
Well, Brian may need them. Yeah.
No, I got a set.
I was going to say you
got a set, all right. Especially going to be doing single master brakes. You got a big set.
Yeah. I got it was funny this was many moons ago when I called the junkyard and they said that they had a Lincoln the Lincoln rear end. The rear end. I said, does it have the front suspension also? And the guy goes, yeah. And I said, well, how much you want? I don't know. It was like $300 or something. And I said, well, you send me the fronts too? And he goes, yeah, I'll throw that all in. So all that shit came. The rotors, the front calipers, spindles, all that stuff.
And the rear end?
And the rear end and the disc brakes, the cables, parking cables. I got all that shit.
The thing that $300.
The thing that I will always
this was 30 years ago, man.
Oh.
35. This was 35 years ago.
Brian, is you got to remember, your car is already not original. So to be hung up on something original like a master cylinder is ridiculous.
No, but I like the way it looks.
So hang it on your wall. And
yeah,
I know it's on top of my refrigerator over here.
Right.
I love the way that big old coffee can looks.
Fill it with coffee. Use it in the morning.
There you
go. I know. I know. I need
Ray. You see, you're playing right into what I'm saying, where we all do things our own way and for our own reasons. And I'm like a student. I like to see what people do, and not even necessarily try and figure out why, because sometimes you can't figure out why. I'm just curious. It kind of makes me smile.
Yeah, like I said, I was told back then that I was crazy for running that big ass that master cylinder.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, what if you lose brakes? I said, I'm going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter.
You get your new chunk for that RV yet, Lewis?
Did I get what?
Your gear set. You get your new gear set for the bus yet?
No.
Come on,
I think I'm gonna weather it out.
That should be priority one for you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take my time, and I'm going to Florida end of the month, so I'm just gonna take my time, float down.
Yeah, but if you change the gear set out, you'll get there a lot faster.
That'll last till about Kentucky.
If you're planning on coming all the way this way, I'll see you next SEMA show.
That 55 miles an hour stuff gets old real quick.
Yeah, I'll get it done, sometime soon, but not. I don't know. I ran out of time.
I sent you 2 different shops that should be able to. Did you ever look up Edelman's?
Edelman's, the link wouldn't take me to their site.
Well, you could actually just go in the search engine and type in Edelman's, because like I said, they do everything from engines to transmissions to trucks to, they're like a salvage yard, plus they sell tractors and other vehicles. They had some box trucks on there for sale and stuff. So they with 2 locations, like I said, one's in Chicago and one I think is somewhere in Ohio.
Do they do service too?
I don't know. Like I said, Lewis, if you just type in Edelman's truck parts, it should come up. But like I said, because I know the other day I got a link. I'm on there. I got a thing popped up that said we just got in some new 14-liter Detroit. Because they use those diesel engines for pumps and stuff like that. So they had just gotten in some of these generator. Like a backup generator with the 14-liter Detroits in them. And they wanted $22,500 for them. I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of coin.
Yeah, it is.
But they were 685 horse, 14 liters. I was like, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Because mine is only 515.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah, the other one was Richard
Karn. Truck parts. He's outside of Atlanta. I bought a lot of stuff from him through the years, and they both ship. So that was the thing of kind of why I sent them to you, is because both of them, if they have the parts, they will palletize it and ship it to you. So I bought a couple intercoolers and radiators from Richard Karn. So. I had one that got kind of center punched, and they took out the air-to-air and the radiator. So they had a truck that had the right stuff. So I bought the air-to-air intercooler and of course, in the truck world, they call it a charge air cooler. It's an air-to-air intercooler for the turbo.
Yeah.
But they had that, and so
I'm on their site right now. They got a lot of stuff, man. Woo.
Which Edelman's or Richard Carnes?
Richard Carnes.
Oh yeah, he's like I said, they're pretty square. They don't, they give you a pretty decent price plus they ship. You could probably get a package deal, Lewis. Get your wheels.
Yeah.
Get your wheels. Get your rear end section and all that.
Now, I got a problem figuring out what gearing I need for the truck or for the bus. So I gotta go talk to a mechanic.
Do you know what's in it now?
Anything higher than what you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's four or something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
3 something.
430s, 430s,
so.
411s,
456s,
430s,
488s,
488s.
Well, trucks don't do trucks. Trucks go with like a 410 or some.
Yeah, it's like
410,
430.
That little black truck I was talking about earlier had 433s in it. Of course, it had a double overdrive RMX transmission in it.
Yeah,
so again, that kind of has to be paired.
Yeah,
my Super Duty had a 410 in it.
Of course, how many? Again, Lewis, you could call them and see what they suggest. Let them know what you've got. They're going to want to know what kind of tire, 22.5, whether you're running a low pro or a standard 11R.
Right.
And just let them know, I've got this that's got, the rear end and it tops out because it's an old school bus. I need something with a little more highway friendly gears. I mean, hell, I looked at a Kenworth tonight that had 291s in it.
Really?
So again, but that also had a 13-speed transmission.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of look at your final gearing and stuff like that. And all, as Ray knows with his GTO, when you change the overdrive transmission, all that stuff kind of works together. I would call Richard Karn tomorrow, Lewis, and just talk to him and just let him know. So listen, I've got, that's got the Allison automatic in it.
Yeah.
Just let them know that you got the DT 466 with an Allison automatic, and you need something that's more highway friendly.
Do you have an overdrive button on it? Do you have overdrive on that, Allison?
No.
Is that 6-speed?
No,
it's 4.
It's a 4.
Holy smoke!
Yeah.
What? Depending upon I wonder what series it is. If it's a 1000 or 2000, or I know the 3 and 4 series were 6 speeds.
Yeah, and that's the one that has the computer on it where you can open up the gears. Mine is hold on.
Mine's only I think, but I have an overdrive on mine.
Yeah, the one I had that was in my RV was this 3000 series, and it wouldn't shift into 6th gear till you were running 55 miles an hour. I mean, it would not shift into that last gear until you were running.
I have a button on mine.
I have the Allison MT 643.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I would do, Lewis, is I would call Richard. I'd call them in the morning and let them know what transmission and all that, and just tell them, I need something to help me go down the road faster than 55 miles an hour, because it's, and like I said, I'm sure they've got something in stock that will help you.
Man, you're going to be sucking some gas, dude. You better.
It'll be the same, 8 miles a gallon, no matter what you do to it.
Well, my coach got 9, and I was happy with 9 miles. It's the shape of a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
32 foot long and the shape of a piece of a loaf of bread.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, actually, mine gets 13 on the road moving, but like I said, it's 7.5 miles to the gallon, but it runs all day. I mean, I don't, when I'm driving in that thing, the few times that I've had it going, I've almost got to 13 running it, but
you don't have an APU for that truck, Brian?
No.
I wonder if that would be cost effective to try to run a system like an APU.
What's an APU, Vince?
Auxiliary power unit.
What does that do?
on a diesel truck like that, it would give him power and would run an HVAC or heating system.
Oh, okay.
Rather than running the engine, you run the smaller engine, and it just, usually it's got an inverter system in it so that you could, got your 110 volt power, and same thing, powers an AC compressor or a heating system.
I know on the bigger trucks, on the see, I have an 18-footer, and I know on the 22 and 24s, and I know on the 26, they have that on there. And I think it's just because of the coachwork, the building of the truck and,
right.
The size, they don't think. I know, like I said, I've always joked, and of course I guess it's getting really close because the stuff that Lewis talked about, solar, that way because like I said, like I have a handful of spots. I park the truck because my shops are so close, and the truck sits one location, and I might walk into 5 to 6 shops, because they're that close together.
Yeah.
And and it's just sitting there running just because of everything going. But that's why I always joke or really like to go into a solar mode. Because I'm not lying. The $22,000 I spend in fuel a year is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I'll get you a 5% discount if you go solar.
Yeah.
The only thing with solar though is like you've already addressed, is your batteries. If you've got a good storage system and a good inverter, my coach had 6 or 8 solar panels on it. Mm-hmm. And it would, I could park it, and, I had the little meter, and on a sunny day, that thing was cranking out 14 volts, keeping the batteries charged, and I could damn near run everything in the coach except for the AC. It was an older system, but if I had a split, I know guys who have coaches like what you're doing and run a mini split, mm-hmm. and they have enough solar. They can run their mini splits on a solar, not a problem.
Yep, and it has heat and AC.
Yeah, it's like a heat pump.
Yep.
Yep.
Because
I looked at on my last truck, my last tool truck, they had, it was like, I don't know how much, I can't remember how much it was, but they had like a heat pump. And I could hook it up to it ran off of the batteries or off the. And the only problem is, you're still only at that moment, because no solar, nothing recharging. I'm only limited to so much time off. So you got to start. You still have to start it up and recharge. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? I know we're still live, so I got to watch what I said, but who knows how much longer they want me around. So,
well, and it's look up. You want to spend some money, Brian? Look up. I think it's called Battleborn batteries.
Yeah, I don't spend money like that.
They're
my middle name's not Vince.
Yeah, neither is mine.
Neither is mine.
But no, they the one guy that I was watching with the solar systems and all that do the mini splits and all that, he's got an old 47 Greyhound or old GMC bus, and he's got 6 or 8 satellite or the solars on his, and when they put a mini split in theirs, they switched all over to Battleborn batteries, and I forget what the amp hour on them is, but they're crazy capacity, but they're also $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So he's got like 8 or 9 of them in his coach by now, and I was just like, holy cow, that's just in batteries.
Yeah, well, they're changed. Well, a lot of people are starting to use, like I used server rack batteries, and they're 100 amp hour each. And so one of my batteries is like having 4 of those Battleborn batteries for around the same price.
Yeah, they're. But again, it's as technology gets better and better, their stuff's a lot more efficient. Because that's what he was saying. By the time when they pulled out all of his old generator and everything and went to solar, he can boondock completely on solar with the HVAC running, all of that, and he's happy with it. And he goes, yeah, it's expensive. He goes, but it does everything I want it to do, better than I expected it to. So, but he goes, it's expensive. He says, but it's we can boondock. He's like, we can boondock for 4 days without having to fire anything up, as long as the sun halfway peaks out for a couple hours during the day.
Yeah.
You don't have that problem down here.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, even solar, and I learned this because the RV that I had one of those little the display screen, and even on a somewhat cloudy day, it was still picking up enough voltage, from even a partly cloudy day to keep them, keep the batteries relatively charged, 13 volts incoming and all that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So just because it's not bright sunny, you're still getting, a charge from the solar. So
that was like one of the big things when we went on the house, because we were supposed to get the panels, and we had gotten some snow, and they rescheduled, and a couple weeks had gone by, and they came back out, and the guy goes, man, you lucked out, because this is the newest panel, and it was so much more than what the other panel did. And they said better cloud, like I said, cloud coverage. If you don't, even if it's not you're still getting X amount of power from them. So they work. It doesn't have to be bright and sunny. They still work. So
yeah. Well, hey guys, I'm gonna jump ship because it's my bedtime and I gotta go work on the bus in the morning.
Yeah, close us down for a night. We'll stay and talk a little longer.
You know what? You're gonna have to do it, Ray, because I'm on I'm not on the administrator.
Oh, okay. You want to sign us?
Your evil twin is right.
Yeah, the evil twin. You want to sign us out then, Lewis? Take us out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. So tell everybody to come hang out with us. And please like, share, and subscribe. All right. Excellent. Peace.
All right.
Hey, Lewis.
And if Tony Pedro's out there watching, Tony, get in touch with me. Let me know. We're gonna get you on the show, and we'll shake these guys up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right.
Take care, Lewis.